In these last few minutes, I'd like to go back to that article that you wrote in 2010. I believe it was a letter to the editor, and you predicted a turbulent 2020s based on secular cycles as well as some early signs of political stress that you saw. You made 4 specific predictions: stagnating or declining real wages, a growing gap between rich and poor, overproduction of young graduates with advanced degrees, and exploding public debt. So now that we're in the 2020s, I'm curious to ask you, if you had a conversation with Peter Turchin of 2010, how would you update him? How do you feel now that you're in the 2020s?
So first of all, remember, these were not predictions. These were trends that have been developing over the previous couple of decades at least, and they became visible. The prediction came is that in all previous historic cases, when you saw those trends develop for sustained period of time, it all ended in a revolutionary situation, which most of the time results in some kind of a revolution, civil war, or something like that. So the prediction was actually, so what you listed, this is it's not like in a theorem. You have you make assumptions and then you will get the result, right? So those were parts of the premises, and the result was the prediction for the turbulent 2020s.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only thing I would do right now is that I would go back and say that in terms of elite overproduction, it's not only the overproduction of advanced degrees, it's also just the sheer number of wealthy, super rich people. I knew it at that time, but I did not put it in. Now I think the overproduction of super wealthy people is equally important to overproduction of advanced degrees. But otherwise, it is remarkable. When I made this prediction, of course, I did not believe that it will come true because the future is unpredictable. All right. So I made this prediction as it was a scientific prediction. So I wanted to put myself, the theory says this, let's see what will happen in this particular case and determine whether the theory made accurate forecasts or inaccurate forecasts. It turns out that it made accurate forecasts. So the conclusion is that we should take the theory seriously if we want to figure out how to get out of the predicament into which we got.
Right. At the end of the day, the whole point of studying this, I would think, would be to learn how we can avoid or mitigate the worst parts of secular cycles.
We don't want to predict disaster and then observe how it happens.
And then stand back and observe it. Right.
Exactly. So we want to predict what you need to do to avoid the disaster. What steps you have to take as a society.
And what do you feel are some of the most important actions that we could take?
So we basically have to stop the wealth pump. The wealth pump, which distributes money from 99% to 1%. Let's put it this way. This pump has been operating over the last 40 or 50 years, and that's why we are here. And so we have to stop it or reverse it in order to get the social system back into. But this is what my book is about. So you have to wait until next year.
Your new book?
To read the details.
Okay, that's a great tease and a great point to leave off. I want to thank you again. This has been a very enlightening hour. Thank you so much for your time, Peter. Have a good day.
It was my pleasure, Scott. Great talking with you.
Talk soon.